Once again, you're with Policy and Prejudice. My name is Chris Stevenson. My guest, Marc Fuller, and I were discussing a very important topic. Of course, number one, relating to himself and his ordeals that he had gone through. A lot of you don't know how he has been since his devastating stroke that he underwent several years ago, a couple of years back.
2 years.
2 years, is it?
August 28th.
August 28th, 2009?
Yes, sir.
You know the thing about, you interviewed me just right around that time.
Yeah.
For 1270. I think you were doing a show in 1270. And maybe a year, it may have been a year before, just exactly a year before then. Okay. At Juneteenth.
Yeah.
And, and I saw you, my next time that I saw you was last summer. Not this past summer, but 2010. And you were just recovering.
Yeah.
Okay, and you said you were in a coma for how long?
4 months. 4 weeks. I was asleep for a month. Imagine. I was in the hospital for 2 months, but I was asleep for one of those months.
Wow.
And I woke up totally, just didn't know nothing. I mean, it was a total, you watch these things on TV all the time, you see people with the memory loss, but to go through it, it was rough.
That was rough.
It was rough. Just trying to learn who you are and, how many children do I have and what's the birthdays. And I had all these things I had to get back into my system. But, I got through it, man.
Yeah. I seen that happen to a person that I was close to, I came up with. And her name was Edith Butler. She was in a coma for 5 years. I think I told you yesterday. Yeah. And I go every now and then to go visit her. Sometimes I see her kids. And, I came up, her kids and me and my sister, we all came up together. So it's almost like seeing family there, you know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, she didn't make much as much as I hoped that she'd recover and be her own self. It didn't work out that way. But one day is enough. But you wouldn't know it's really one day. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, cause it's like just going to sleep.
That's just like going to sleep. But a month, 4 weeks. That is amazing.
When I left out the hospital, I weighed 98 pounds. I weighed 98 pounds. I couldn't walk. I didn't have any memory of anything. I didn't know where I lived.
So your muscles had just shut down completely.
Completely. I mean, you in that still state for that long, and then the stroke had caused my body to break down too.
Yeah, right.
But to be laying there with no movement,
right?
It's just something that I think about it every day, because when I go into my mirror in the morning, I'm looking at myself and I know the difference. I'm like, I went from one point to this point, and once I got my memory back, which took about a year, I felt like Marc again. Right. I felt like Marc again, and then it was things that I had to say, what I'm going to do with my life now. It was decisions. It was decisions to be made. Right. And I'm making them on a daily basis. Yeah. Every day I'm thanking my God, for allowing me to still be here. But I know it's for a reason. This is what I was hearing this from very spiritual people. He has a plan for you, Fuller, and I know that to be true. I feel it in my bones. Just give me time to rest, move away from the scene where folks can see the difference. See, it's a difference when you own the scene and when you're not on the scene. Yeah. And now you're finding out who was true to the game and who was faking the game. Okay. I've seen this now.
Ah. All right. Okay.
I've seen it. No names be mentioned, but I see it.
So in this regards to your organization, the Stop the Violence Coalition?
Everything, man.
Everything?
Everything.
Your personal life, relationships, everything?
Wow. Everything. I mean, when I got to doing the cutoffs, it was no agenda. It was like, this is how you gonna heal, Marc. You got to cut folks away. You don't need all this stuff around you right now. You need totalness. All you have right now is your wife and your children. But your wife is going to be there to take care of you. And she did an excellent job. Yeah. Because she went through all of the memory losses. She went through all that. I can't drive. She went through all those steps with me. You know, and like I told her, I said, this is why me and you are together, because you was the one from way back in the day that I had my eyes on, and you are still here, here now, and you was here for a reason, because if there was nobody else that could have done what she did under this situation with me and my sickness, but her.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, I'm happy right now. You know, I'm happy, and I don't know what my next move is gonna be, but it's gonna be something. It's gonna be something.
It is gonna be so. I feel that way too. I think so.
It's gonna be something.
God doesn't keep people around for nothing.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? I really, that's always been my belief. So yeah, there's something big on the horizon here, and only you, whatever it is, can pull it off. You know, and that's the main thing. You know, we were also discussing yesterday about the hip hop influence and how much influence it had on modern youth violence, in particular black on black violence. You know, and I say that because, and it's all music. I have to say, all music influences people.
See, when you say influence, the influence with the hip hop, was pushed by television. Because I remember when I was coming up, we would hear the record, but we didn't see no video.
Right.
So if you liked something, you liked what you heard. And now with the videos, see, people talk about the music, but they leave that one part out. Video.
Yeah.
It's with them brothers, the young brothers and sisters are singing.
Yeah.
And they're imitating.
Right.
I gotta have that car. I got to have that money. I got to have. It's what they see. Sure. Now, who's in charge of the videos? And who decided we're gonna put these videos out on this station on a daily basis?
People who don't mean us any good.
Any good at all.
That's who's doing it. And I thought about, I used to think about scenarios where the music I grew up, I said, what if Motown had videos? What if people like Gil Scott-Heron and the Last Poets and all them had videos? Okay? What if,
You've seen them when they came to your town.
Yeah. But see, but that's, and that was tremendous.
Yeah.
But that's entertaining. You when they come to your town, you are dazzled for 2 or 3 hours. You understand what I'm saying? Then they leave, you go back home, and you go back to life.
Yeah.
You go back to school or do whatever it is you're doing. Okay, they just move on to a new town.
Yeah.
So they didn't influence you to really do anything except see them and spend your money on them and say, "Wow, okay, I'm gonna buy their next record, or I'm gonna buy their latest song, or whatever the case may be. I'm gonna buy their newest album. I'm gonna buy their 8-track." You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But today is different, and I say that because music for thousands of years has influenced me. Has been an influence on me. You know,
always.
Love music, patriotic music, war
and
music.
it's all types of music.
Yeah.
And see, I was a music major in school, and we had to play and be taught orchestra music, ballet music. I mean, we went through all of the music phases.
Yeah.
To where now you have these young folks, it's just one type of music they listen to. It's just one type of music that they're going to hear in their car or in their house. One type, one phase. They're not being influenced by the different types of music to see the difference, like I was. I was one of the first students when they built performing arts. I was one of the original students.
Yeah. Right.
And so we had to learn. And what I liked about the first year of performing arts, because even though I was a music major, we still took dance. We took theater. It was all the different fractions of what was going on instilled in us.
Right.
You don't have that no more. You have a one set thing, this is what it is, and that's it. Where we had a variety. Even though my major was music, but I still was in the theater class. See what I'm saying?
See, now, you talk about the old performing arts when it was...
when it was first built, I was there. I was one of the first original students.
you know. See, then my sister went there when it was school 87. Okay. Clinton Junior High School.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was still there when I came up, but I went to school 31.
Okay.
During that time period. You know, you going way back when. You know, and performing arts is very important. And that was always historically a good school. I think it's something else now. I know performing arts itself moved to another location, whatever.
Yeah, they on Ferry and Master.
Yeah, Ferry Master. Oh yeah, not far from Traditional, I think, or something like that. But you know, you need those types of schools anyway. You know, what I'm seeing is for some mysterious reason. And I'll tell you one thing. When I went to school 40 for half a year. I spent all my grade school years just about in school 75, from kindergarten to 5th grade. I got bused to school 40. Just sit and see. You go to school 40. That's when after we moved to Oneida Street. I was still in walking distance, 75, but they just said go to 40. I was the first black kid in my class. Okay. We had instruments. I took up the trombone, and I didn't know the particulars about it. You got to have a lot of wind to play the trombone. Okay. My father should have made me do push-ups every day because you had to have wind.
I played trumpet
to play. Yeah, I don't know about trumpet. I know trumpet much lighter.
Yeah,
in terms of having to carry it.
Going to performing arts, I was in the orchestra, in the band. Yeah, and so I was around all the people who played trombone and all the instruments were getting played. Yeah, you know, but I went. My grammar school was School 53. Yeah, 6th grade. You know, the funny thing about me playing the trumpet was, I remember seeing a picture in my grandmother's house of my grandfather who died when I was born, so I never got a chance to meet him. And he had this horn in his hand. And that's the only reason why I wanted to play it. Yeah. And years later, my grandmother tell me he was just holding that horn.
See, but he
was just holding it.
That's all I was doing. and that's my arms got stronger. Lugging it back and forth every day, especially during the wintertime and all that stuff. But, you know, that school, School 40 was mostly white. They had instruments. Yeah. I went to 31, instruments, not really more instruments. Okay, 31 all black. Okay, yeah. But the 2 white kids, you know, but the instruments is gone. You got to have instruments in all these schools. Okay?
Like it used to be.
Yeah, that's like it used to. You got to have instruments in all these schools. I mean, you know, because you're going to have some kids, a certain percentage, are going to be musically inclined.
Like it used to be.
You know?
We all played, on my street where I grew up on, everybody played an instrument. Yeah. Everybody. You had a drummer, you had guitar players, you had flute players, clarinet players. Everybody played an instrument.
Now, what street was that?
Northampton.
Okay.
Everybody played an instrument, and you know, I was also a member of Donald Hilliard, St. Philip's Boys and Young Men's Choir. You know, so my music thing before I went to performing arts was already instilled in me. Right. It's just that when I got to performing arts, you know, your life changed. You know, I had issues. I had issues, you know, and those issues led me to leave school, and that's when I got into promoting, which has been part of my life. Okay. You know, part of my life, you know, for a long time. Promoting. I can promote anything. And I think that's what people see in me when I be part of these organizations, because my ideas. Right. My ideals come from promoting, because I gave my first party in Buffalo in 1978. 1978 at 287 Rollers in the backyard. It was my first affair I ever gave. I went from Rollers to 1687 Main in Raleigh with a brother named Kenny Cox. And we started doing affairs in a building. Yeah. Then I went from that to DJing. Okay. And so now I'm DJing in all these spots. So I've always been a people's person. All my life, I've been a people's person. But I tell people, I say, I only sleep 2 or 3 hours a day. I used to sleep 2 or 3. That's all I've been doing all my life. Yeah. I'm not a sleeper. But I'm an idealistic person who can bring ideas to any organization, which I have been doing for years. Right. But I'm telling you, man, folk come back and they bite you. You come into a group and you bring the group up, and all of a sudden somebody trying to get your spot. And I've been dealing with this for years. You know, I've been dealing with this for years. But, you know, getting sick, having that stroke, giving me these last 2 years of my life to heal and think,
yeah,
it's something coming. Fuller coming back. You know, because I ain't really went nowhere. Okay. I just been resting. Okay. I just been resting, and I'm happy. I just can't explain that. I'm happy.
Do you get a lot of love from some of the kids that you helped?
I get love
through these resolution camp.
You see my afro?
Yeah.
Brother who cut my hair used to be one of the young folks. Used to come to my fairs in the 90s.
Okay.
He's still around me. You know what I'm saying? So I get love. Like when I was in the hospital, a nurse told me, she said, Mark, over 1,000 people that came up here to see you. To this hospital to see you. That we, you know, it was days they couldn't let anybody in. It was just that crowded. And she asked me, who are you? And I couldn't tell her.
Right.
You know, I couldn't tell her. But I know it was that love that helped heal me. Because I know I had to feel all that. I mean, you got all those people coming up to see you, and you just laying there. You can't talk. You just in a sleep phase. It was that love, man. And that love helped bring me out that building. Not only from the people and from my wife, but it was that love. Because I know I had to feel that, because when they told me, the people that came, because my wife took names. And so when I got out of the hospital, she gave me this paper, all these people. I'm like, damn. All these people?
Wow.
I haven't seen this name and this person in years. But she said, yeah, it was something. It was like everybody that you can think about was coming up to the hospital. White, black, Jews, Gentiles, old, young. And that's why that nurse asked me, who are you? And I couldn't tell her. But today, I feel good, man.
Yeah.
I feel good. You know, I'm still getting love from people because of that internet.
Yeah.
That internet has kept me, it's helped heal me, because I'm able to get on there and talk to everybody. You know, once I learned how to work the computer again, because I forgot everything, but once I got that computer back underneath my hands, I'm on the internet every night talking to people now.
Okay. All right.
Still getting the love.
Yeah.
You know, and when I made a decision to step back from everything that I was doing, that was based on my health. You know, I can't do all this stuff and trying to heal at the same time. I had to let something go.
Would you say you're 100% right now, or what point?
I'm at about 80.
80%? Okay. All right.
I still got some, you know, people know me as a worker. And like I said, I only sleep 2 hours a day.
All right.
And I don't look like that. I only sleep 2 hours a day. And that was because that's how I came up. You know, I was, you know, my mom's worked at 11 o'clock at night to 7 in the morning. I shot out the house at 11 o'clock and hit them streets. And would be back in the house before she got off.
So she would think, oh yeah, he's been sleeping all night.
Sleep.
You were determined, and
then I would get up and then go to school.
Right.
So I was never a sleeper. And you know, this point in time in my life, you know, I'm 47 years old, and I have 10 children. I have a beautiful wife. I had a stroke that stopped my life for a minute, but 2 years later, look at me, man. No, this is not the same brother that came out of the hospital. This is not the same brother that came out that building with that walker, with that cane, with no hair, 4 holes in his head, hole in his throat, with no memory. This is not the same brother. I was rested, and like I said, in the last 2 years, I've been able to see everybody who was around me for what they was worth, man.
Wow.
So walking away was nothing to me. You know, it was nothing, because I got a beautiful wife that stepped up to the plate fully.
Yeah.
To where her and my mama was battling.
Get out of here.
Man, it was some crazy stuff going on, man.
Well, see, now, here's the thing. How active are you with the Stop Violence Coalition?
I'm not active at all. I cut them loose.
You cut them loose?
All the way.
Why?
Because I felt that it was a time for me to make a change in my life.
Mm-hmm.
The change I had to make was to heal my body.
Okay.
What I had put out there, if you rolled with me, you should have picked up everything that I was showing you. And you just take what I gave you.
Mm-hmm.
You can move this thing to the next level without me being there.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't happen like that. It didn't happen like that.
Why not?
Because, first of all, if your heart ain't all the way in something, that's going to tell on you after a while.
Right.
Everybody know what my heart was. It was community, coalition. Coalition, my wife will tell you, we've had one car. Mm-hmm. She went to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. I drove her to work. And when I got back home, I was getting ready for whatever was going on in the day. I'm the reason why Buffalo has a homicide unit today, is because I seen that we didn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Brought that information back to the organization, and we protested about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they had all these big shots from the Erie County stepping in to investigate it. And they came back and said, y'all right. But where did that idea come from? It came from Fuller. Why did nobody else see it? Why did nobody else speak on the fact we didn't have a homicide unit? We had all these deaths. But this is just my intuition that I get from my God, man.
Right.
I be getting these premonitions on things in my mind,
sure.
And sometimes they much bigger than I ever thought they were going to be. But that was major.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about this thing with somebody the other day, and they're like, "Man, you know how major that is?" I said, "Yeah." I brought that to the organization. Mm-hmm. We brought it to the streets. We protested down in front of City Hall before the mayor was the mayor. He was there, but it was from Marc Fuller.
But see, here's the thing. I didn't know it either. I did not know we didn't have. There was a time we didn't have a homicide unit until you brought it to me. A lot of people didn't know, man. Back then.
A lot of people didn't know.
And there's other things I didn't know. It's just like that reminds me of the time, Sam. I knew about consent, police and citizens consent decrees. Mm-hmm. Okay, I knew about them happening in other cities. I didn't know we had. Okay. The Carol Horn situation comes up. Yeah. Sam Rafford tells me, "Yeah, Chris, Buffalo has a consent decree." I said, "What?" But it wasn't making a difference. That we had the softest consent decree in the country, okay? And it was still about to expire also. So, but I'm saying we still had one. Why wasn't I made known of this? They didn't really. They kind of covered up like, well, this is just a cap spray controversy, you know. No, it was a whole consent decree that came as a result of that. All right, and I say that for a couple of reasons. Number one, sometimes crime will be allowed to strategically go up in certain cities so that they can get a money out of the government budget.
It's all money.
Okay, and then they say, hey, you know what? We had 100 murders last year. And they're not thinking in terms of, well, let's just stop the murders before they
listen,
happen. No.
I was doing my affairs at the IPE, and I remember the police coming after me. Mm-hmm. And I went through all kind of stuff because I was keeping the children off the streets on a weekly basis. Right. And they came after me. And I remember a guy saying, "Mark, your name is on the list because they need the crime to continue. And what you're doing is stopping it."
I believe it.
And I went through hell with them peoples, man. And it was, I'll never forget it, man. I went through hell. I mean, they went and all the places that I was renting, they were saying, "You rent the Mark, we're going to take your dance license. We're not going to be able to make." I mean, it was crazy, man.
Right.
And the community stood up with me.
Mm-hmm.
I went through all that, and I believe that I won because what they tried to do to me was for a particular reason to keep whatever was going on the street, not keeping the kids off the street.
Exactly.
And they've been doing it since the 80s.
Now, here's the thing. Didn't you have, at some point, didn't you reach some sort of a liaison agreement with the police?
I didn't reach no agreement with the police. I went and found the law.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I was putting the law on my flyers.
Okay.
And when the youth was seeing the law, somebody said, "Mark thinking." But it was making a bigger enemy with me with those in play, because I never knew who was the person who put them up against it, because they were sending people at me, black.
Who you say sending? Who do you mean they? When you say
whoever it was that was trying to put me out of business to keep the.
It was in the department. So these are black police officers or black officials within the police department?
They sent black police officers at me because I guess that looked better.
Yeah.
But Kurlikowski, when he left Buffalo, I seen him on William, and he said something to me that just like he knew. He just told me, keep your head up. Kurlikowski, police commissioner, keep your head up. What was he saying to me?
So they're basically, they reasoned that we need you black people, I'm saying for use of a better term, to kill each other so that we can continue making a living.
And basically.
That's basically what they
no homicide unit.
Right. We're just going to get rid of our homicide unit. We're not going to announce this. We're just going to just put a stop.
Come on, man. The second largest city in New York State don't have a homicide unit. And I forgot how I came across that information.
Yeah.
I don't know how I came across it, but I know when I did, I brought it to the organization. And everybody had the same look you just got in your face. Like, what? We ain't got no homicide unit. So we don't have a homicide unit. And we need to get one.
Right.
And set up the protests. I remember getting a date together, getting a stage, getting all the groups together.
Sure.
And we protested. And they said they were going to investigate it. I don't know who the person who said that, but I know it was different people looking into it from Erie County, the city, big shots. Came back and said they right.